Greetings, art lovers. I am Alvoria, and today we are going to be taking a look at Unnatural State, which is a 64x Minecraft resource pack by Fishymint, currently for Minecraft 1.11, though I will be reviewing it in Minecraft 1.10 because that's what this review map is for. It is a very strongly pixel art based pack, full of lots of beautiful art, so let us get started. Starting off in the genuine simulated biomes, we have very bumpy snow. Now, I'm not a fan of the bumpy snow, but it actually does work. That's the style of this pack. A lot of the pixel art has a lot of very tactile definitions. You can reach out and feel it, or it looks like you could. You can't actually, because this is a video game, but it looks like you could, which is what's important. The ice, very strongly diagonal. It actually looks like flowing water that was frozen. Definitely several steps up from just the usual diagonal streaks that are seen in far too many resource packs. This actually has really good definition, and again, it feels like if you reached out, you'd actually be able to feel all of these little lines in the ice. So good, so good. For the packed ice, we have the same texture, which is fine. I always wish for unique textures for each single block, but I realize that's not really feasible considering the huge mass of blocks that exist in Minecraft. One thing, it looks dirty. I'm not sure if it was intentional or not, but this actually does look like a very dirty texture, same with the regular ice, especially when compared with the snow, which looks very light and fluffy and clean. Now that might have been intentional given one of the themes of this pack. Of course, the first theme of this pack is just really great pixel art. All of this pixel art is just fantastic. One thing though, the cracks in the ice are a bit hard to see, but that's fine. You're usually only going to be seeing the cracked Frostwalker ice for a couple of seconds, so there's no real reason to have that really be highly visible. The side grass, the snowy side grass, just the regular side grass texture, but with just this nice little layer of snow on top. I love all the little details here. You can see the snow kind of going down into the breaks in the grass. So good, so much great detail in this pixel art. I love it. In the mountain, or rather the extreme hills, I keep getting that wrong. We have cobblestone. Now, I don't like this cobblestone because it has these dark spots in the brick. This is one of those things where if you have a large wall or a field of this, it really starts to stand out and makes a really, really nasty diagonal pattern. I don't care for that. This is a texture where there needs to be at least like one or two variants if you want to keep that darkened brick part, just to break it up. And I realize that with the amount of time that these wonderful, amazing, high-detailed textures must have taken, that's probably not a priority, but it is a thing that I'm hoping will happen at some point. The gravel is very granular. I like it a whole lot. The only thing is that when you start to get a little bit far away from it, you start to see there is some banding in it, some stripes to it. This texture is high detail enough to where using random rotations would probably fix that up. I don't know if you could make the ends match really, really easily, but I don't think it would take too much effort to make the edges all match up on every side. So I'm hoping that's a thing that gets done. The stone looks great. Again, we have all of this really high detail pixel art. I'm going to be saying that a lot because it's true for every single block. So much detail, rough bumpiness in the stone. This isn't smooth. It is very, very rocky, for lack of a better word. And there is a pattern to it, but even when you come way out, it's hard to get a bead on it. So it's not bad. I think that if Fishymint wanted to improve this, just having even a single variant to have some randomness to it would help a lot, but as it is, no complaints about this texture at all. The grass, again, look at the detail. Look at the detail in this grass. Every little blade of grass is rendered so good, so good. And with the side grass, the only thing is that it doesn't keep that level of detail kind of at the top of the texture, which I wish it did, but overall it still looks really amazing. Same with the dirt. There's just that unevenness to it that I really like. Very good stuff. In the spruce biome, you can probably start to see the other theme of this resource pack. Yeah, it doesn't look like a fern, does it? Nah, it looks more like an antenna of some sort. Yet the other big theme of Unnatural State seems to be technology kind of taking over the world, almost as if the entire planet were slowly being like cyberized. So we have a lot of otherwise natural things that are actually like metallic. So it ends up being kind of odd, but also very, very cool, simply because you have this great juxtaposition of the technological and the natural. And there are a lot of places where this works very well, and a couple where it kind of doesn't, and I'll get to those as I go along. One of the kind of doesn't things is the sapling. It's tiny. Look at it. At first I thought this was a light bulb, and I'm like, why is he making a light bulb for a sapling? That just didn't make any sense. But no, if you come over here and you look really closely, there's a little tree in there. There's a teeny tiny little tree in there. It's adorable. The only problem where it doesn't work is, though, the inventory. If you look down in my hotbar, it's tiny. It's minuscule. It needs to be made bigger in the inventory, if nothing else. It's very hard to visually see what this is when you're carrying it around, and even in your hand. Look, you can barely see it because it's so off to the side of the screen. That's one thing that really needs to be addressed. It is, however, a very cool concept. The idea that because the trees are natural, they are actually being planted by some sort of device in the world because of the cyberization of the planet. And all of these just look amazing. It's a very cool theme and it carries well. As for the textures themselves, the dirt, or the coarse dirt, looks pretty much just like a redder version of the regular dirt. Not much to say there. The mossy bricks have the same dark spots that tile horribly. Not a big fan of them. And then with the spruce leaves, we have this strong banding on the underside, which doesn't look good. It looks good on the sides, but not on the top and bottom. As for the bark itself, it's just good pixel art. There's really not much to be said, other than with the dark bands on the side to give it that depth, that curve to it. It ends up looking weird in multi-block textures like this, where the logs are often found side by side. Looks like there's a crease in it, and that's just, I don't know, it's just kind of goofy. I don't care for it. A bit of connected textures mod would go a long way with this pack, I think. In the regular forest, we see another one of these cute little saplings. See, it's a different tree in there, but it's also still hard to tell the difference when it's in your inventory. As for the... what is this even? A poppy. Yeah, that's one of those things where it's kind of hard to tell what things are. Now, after you get used to playing with this pack, it'll probably be second nature. Oh, of course that's a poppy. It's kind of orange. Should be red, but okay, it's orange. So yeah, it's a poppy. It looks fine. The birch bark, very strongly banded, but it looks good. Again, just a lot of high detail stuff. All these little imperfections in the bark, just lovingly rendered in. So good. And as for the leaves, the only problem with the leaves is that there is a slight issue with there being a dark band where there are fewer leaves along kind of the edge of the block. But the texture itself looks great. Each little leaf is different. Yeah, there are a few repeats here and there, but you don't really notice it, simply because of this mass of leaves. Again, this is where things were lovingly rendered out in every little minute detail. It's so good. I love the pixel art in this pack. Just great pixel art. In the dark oak forest, we see more really great pixel art. Yeah, we have the rose, which is basically the poppy, but too high. It just looks like the antenna was extended. It's very, very cool. Again, keeping this technological theme, where certain things are just artificial because they are. For the dark oak, we have this one problem where this center line of, I don't know, bark pieces looks distinctly lighter than all of the rest. And as with the spruce, excuse me, I'm forgetting my tree names. The spruce, we have this dark line down the center on a texture where the logs are often found side by side, so I'm not really a fan of that. Unfortunately, the saplings aren't done here, which is a shame, but overall everything just looks fantastic. The leaves are also still default, which stinks, but I'm looking forward to them being finished in the future. Birch forest, we've got more teeny tiny little saplings and these little like bulb looking things. I love this. This is such a cool idea. I just wish it were easier to see in the inventory. And then we have the very mechanical looking what are they called? Dandelions. Yes, dandelions. Yes. I remember the names of things. It's hard when you're not looking at something that's familiar or even really indicates what it actually is. But it's very cool looking. I like the antenna design. It's very, very nice. With the birch bark, it's very smooth and clean. Interestingly enough, this is actually one of the birch barks that I have the least problem with as far as patterning, even though there is this one little dark detail off to the side that kind of does, but I mean, it's great otherwise. And because this isn't usually found put side by side with itself, it's fine as far as the dark edges go. It gives it a nice bit of curve, nice bit of additional depth to go along with the high detail in the bark. The bark feels very rough, which is great. I love that. And the leaves, again, just lovingly rendered, strongly detailed. I think that these are the same leaves as the oak, though, so that's fine. It looks brilliant. The jungle. The lamp-infested jungle? Question mark? Yeah, these are cool. They look like they're lamps. I'm not sure exactly what they're supposed to be, but they look like lamps. I mean, I know that they're actually cocoa pods, right? But in universe, I'm not sure what they're supposed to be. One thing that's very cool about these, by the way, if you look very closely, there's a 1, a 2, and a 3 to show the stage. The only thing is, I wish that these were backwards so that you could read the number properly when you're looking at it, rather than having it always be upside down. But other than that, it's just amazing. Again, we have a little sapling. Looks very cute. Very hard to tell exactly what it is. It looks like most of the others, but it's awesome. I like it. The vines, I'm not sure I like the vines. They're just these lines. Not much to say. With the jungle wood, though, one thing that's interesting is the banding is actually kind of made part of the texture, where there's this center line even within a block to kind of make it feel like this was intentional, like the log actually grows with these bands of wood, these strongly vertical bands of wood. It's very cool. I honestly wish that this were embraced a little bit in more textures. The one thing is that this corner band significantly darker than the center block band, so it still kind of stands out. But it's fine otherwise, it looks really good. Then we have the rations crate. Yep, not a melon, it's a rations crate. I love this. Again, this is one of those conceits of this pack that just works so well. And again, we have this attention to detail where the label is kind of ripped off, and there's kind of some imperfections in the shadows and stuff. Again, just this little scratch down at the bottom. You can see just great stuff. All this little attention to detail just really makes this pack stand out so much. And then, of course, there's the leaves. Let us not forget the leaves. Different leaf texture than we've seen before, and looking just fantastic. All of the shading on the leaves, each leaf being individually rendered. There being little vines in the background. It's so good. I just can't stop I can't stop raving about how good the pixel art in this pack is. It's getting me tongue-tied. In the flower plains, we have all of these wonderful tulips, which are so cool. They actually do have a kind of a tulip shape to them, which works. And I love that the lights on the top are actually a different color than the tulips. So we have the blue lights on the red tulip, we have green lights on the orange, yellow on pink, and red on white. So it creates a nice contrast even within a single flower. Now sadly not all of these are finished. That's a shame, but I'm looking forward to re-reviewing this pack when it is more complete. Honestly, my biggest complaint about this pack is how incomplete it is, but that's, for another moment. Here's one of those things, by the way, where attention to detail was paid. The grass is natural even when the ferns were not. Why? Because the grass block is natural. It makes sense that the taller grass is also going to be natural, but that the ferns, being a completely different plant, are actually the metallic ones. This is one of those details that I just love. Thought was put into the creation of this pack, which I appreciate so much. In the savanna, we have not done saplings, unfortunately. The bark texture, again, great detail, just so much little detail, great pixel art. There's a nice wave to the bark texture that carries throughout. There's all these little details of the little splints of bark that have grown up and just stopped developing, where bark underneath has kind of pushed it out of the way. So good. I'm pretty sure the leaves are just another rehash of the oak leaves. That's fine, still looks amazing. In the Mesa biome, we have the thing that was on Skywalker Moisture Ranch, or Moisture Farm in Star Wars A New Hope. I'm not even kidding. This actually is the first thought that came into my head when I saw the dead bush. Tell me I'm not insane for thinking that. Please, leave that in the comments, and that I'm not insane for thinking this is a thing that looks like it's right out of Star Wars. As for the stained clay, my big complaint is that the size of the bands are not consistent. The parts up here are very broad, whereas there's these 3 bands at the bottom, which are very compacted together. I wish that this were a lot more uniform, but I mean, what are you gonna do? That's just kind of how this texture works. It could be fixed though. I don't think it would take too much effort to fix the size of the bands on the texture. One thing though, again, it has this great part where it actually gives some depth to the texture because of the fine detail and the roughness in the pixel art. It's still a good texture, it just needs to have more uniform sizing to make everything feel a little bit more connected and normal. Coming over to the sand, we have something that I'm pretty sure is an error. This actually looks like it's all supposed to be going one direction, but is randomly rotated. I'm guessing that needs to be fixed. And unfortunately, the red sandstone is not done. Oh well, moving on. Next we have the desert with the wonderful looking sandstone. Oh, look at the detail on the carved sandstone. Look at it, look at it. This is brand new for this version of the pack, by the way. How very cool. The skull, all of this detail work, all looking all raised, like you could feel all of the detail with the little skulls if you reached out and touched it. Look at the little crown on the skull's head. This is such good stuff. I love this pixel art. It's so good. The regular sandstone also looks really good. It's nice, it's flat, it's smoother than most of the other textures, but still has that unevenness to it. One thing though is that the cracks here and over here do kind of lead to a pattern, but it's fine. It's not a big deal, simply for how overall very smooth and nice and flat the texture is. It honestly doesn't look bad, and unless you're looking for it, like I am, you're probably not going to notice that sort of thing, much less think it out of place. The cactus is weird. I'm not sure exactly what it's supposed to be. It looks like a giant battery box or something. It looks very cool. Again, going with the theme of technology supplanting nature in places, we have this very metallic, very definitely synthetic sort of a thing that's growing out of the ground and looking just great. All the little details, all the scratches and pits, like there's been some damage to it. It looks very good. The sand here actually is all going in a straight line, which makes me think again that the red sand was a mistake, not something that was actually supposed to be. And although it's just basic lines, it does look very good. It looks windswept, which I really, really enjoy. Overall, just good textures all around. I hope that at some point soon the red sandstone can be finished with the same expert quality as this has. Not much to say about the swamp as usual. The lily pads, I think, were probably not made to have the green biome coloring over the flowers. I think there's probably going to need to be some custom model work to bring that more in line with how it's supposed to be. Guessing it was just a mistake. Then again, I'm not entirely sure that this texture is done. This is another one where it looks like it's a 32x texture instead of the proper 64x for everything else, so I'm guessing this isn't finished yet, which is why there's this obvious error. As for the orchids, they look cool. It's like a little light pole. I honestly wish that there was a way to get blocks to emit light, especially colored light, using only a resource pack. I'd love to see this little thing emit just a little bit of blue light. Sadly, Minecraft's lighting engine is just simply not that advanced. What's interesting, though, is that if we come over here to the mushroom biome is for once not boring. There is a lot going on here. I love the mycelium. This is very, very cool. The whole idea of mycelium is it's microscopic fungus that is covering the ground. Well, in this case, the fungus has been supplanted by this circuitry-looking stuff, and it looks just amazing having all of this covered. It's not just a repaint of the grass as one might expect. This is actually going along with the theme of technology supplanting parts of the environment. We see the same thing with the mushrooms, which thankfully actually do emit just a little bit of light. And so they do have kind of a bulb-looking shape. Very, very cool. And this one, I don't even know what this one is supposed to be, the brown mushroom, but it looks just amazing. Let's see if we can see a better one there. Yeah, it's just this little technical shape. It looks almost like pinchers coming up or something. I'm not sure. It looks very good. As for the mushrooms themselves, the large mushrooms, we have this big, like, I don't even know what this is called, like, girder-looking, kind of lattice-looking kind of stuff that's coming up. It looks really, really great, and with the shading between the sides, the corners look very natural on this block, which is really, really nice. I like that a lot. Then for the underside of the mushrooms, we have these vents. This is another one of those where I wish that there was more flexibility in what resource pack artists could do with blocks. I'd love to see these emitting like spore particles downward, you know, just from these vents. You know, they're just venting like cold air or spores. That would be really, really awesome. The top of the mushrooms, really, really good. We've got all these nice little greebles on this. A lot of damage, again, a lot of attention to detail with little bits of damage. I wish that there were more random variations because it does get kind of repetitive having the damage always in exactly the same place, but it's fine. It's far and away better than the vast majority of brown mushroom top textures that I've seen in other packs. Keeping very, very well with the theme. Same with the red. There's a lot of wear going on here, a lot of wear in the paint job, and we've got the holes for the bolts. It looks very, very good. I love this biome so much. It feels a lot more unique than a lot of other mushroom biomes, and it goes really, really well with this pack's theme. Both the theme of having amazing pixel art and the theme of technology supplanting parts of nature. So good. Ocean. The sponge looks very alien. I love it. I don't know what it's exactly supposed to be other than, well, you know, a very porous sponge. I mean, duh. But it looks really, really alien, really weird looking. I like it. I like it so much. The only thing is that it's a bit hard to tell when it's wet. Not much to be said there, but, you know, something that maybe could be improved or addressed at some point. The prismarine. The prismarine is just kind of brick, but with a bluish texture to it, or a slight bluish tint. It's kind of meh. I'm not a real big fan of it. It doesn't really stand out, but then again, that might be the point, to get it to be able to mix well with other blocks. I do, however, really like the dark prismarine texture, just having a field of these little greebles. Again, I wish that there was a randomized version of this to break up large fields if you wanted to use it as a building material, but even as it is, it looks really, really good. It's the kind of thing that I would immediately grab for like a bathroom tile floor. Looks great. The regular prismarine, interestingly, has these bands on it, even though it's an otherwise natural texture. Which makes sense. Where is prismarine found? It's found in ocean monuments, which makes me think that there's no such thing as a truly natural prismarine. It's all been worked a little bit by whoever built the ocean monuments. It's another one of those attention to detail things that just really makes sense. Sadly, the sea lanterns aren't finished, but we do have the clay, which looks very good. Red clay texture. It looks very uneven. There is this couple of vertical lines in it that do stand out and repeat. Again, with a natural texture, I always wish that there were some variants, but it's fine and it looks just great. Let's visit the House of Many Colors and look at all of the nice wool and clay textures. They look very, very good. Again, as with most packs, they're mostly just recolors of one another, but that's fine. One thing is that the lime does not go with the lime glass. That is kind of a shame, but I do appreciate the blue lime color. Looks very, very good. I like it. And as for the contrast between the wool and the clay, the wool is very much lighter and brighter, whereas the clay is more desaturated, but still has the pure colors. I love the trapdoors, by the way. These are just the wooden trapdoors, but they have the mechanical look to them. One thing, though, is that I wish it were created where the hinge-looking part was always on the actual hinge rather than at the top with all of them. It is possible to do. I did it with my own pack, so I'm hoping this is a thing that's going to be addressed. By the way, look at this. Look. It's a can. It's a soup can. There's a soup can for the pots, the flower pots. It's so cool! It's just one of those unexpected things that's just amazing. It's like you don't think about it, but yeah, of course, in a world where metal grows, yeah, soup can, why not? Very, very cool looking. And then over here in the brown and black living room, we do see that the clay is pulled just a bit towards red. That's fine. Nothing much to be said about that, but it looks really, really good. We have red and orange in the dining room. I like the cake. The cake is green. I'm not sure why the cake is green, but it looks good. I like the little rose on top. It's very cute. I don't comment on the cakes too much because they're pretty much all the same, but it's very, very cool. I like it. In the kitchen, we have the grays and the whites. Looks very cool. Again, we see the clay is pulled just a little bit toward red. That's fine. One thing that I want to point out while I'm here, as I usually do, the GUI work. It uses the same metallic sort of a look that's found in a lot of the rest of the textures. I like the red paint job on all of it. There could be more detail work done on all of these because there's a lot of just large red fields on many of these. That one isn't finished. But overall, yeah, same as a lot of the other textures where there's just a lot of detail. And I could just look at these and examine them for hours. Even on the cauldron, we have a different color scheme for the paint, as well as the all this little detail, even all this little scaffolding stuff down at the bottom to support the weight of the tank proper. It just looks good. The crafting grid, definitely an interesting take on it. I like that there is a proper crafting grid on top. This is almost one of those things where if Mojang ever decided to expand to include 5x5 recipes and made a different crafting table, you could use the same texture and just pull it out. That would be interesting. I hope they never do that, but it would be interesting. Let's head upstairs and continue viewing the beautiful, beautiful colors. Purple and magenta, they go very well together as they usually do. The wool is still very bright, but that's just great. I love it. Oh, one thing I wanted to notice. I could have just gone to the next area. I'm done. The beds. The beds are interesting. I'm not sure what they're supposed to be. They look like a military cot, which could mean that this pack is like post-apocalyptic, like the only thing that's left of man-made stuff is like the like military surplus. Well, actually we won't, because I'm going to be skipping that, but I'm going to talk about it a little bit later, where I think that that might be the case. Cyan and pink looking very, very good. I like it a lot. Let's head forward to the bathroom. We've got the blue and light blue. Again, we have mostly the default colors with the stained clay, which don't really work. The light blue actually looks more cyan, whereas the wool looks sky. This is probably the biggest contrast between the wool, or excuse me, between the wool and the stained clay in this pack. But overall it looks very good, and the glass is just very, very bright. And honestly doesn't look good with either of these for the light blue. It's a lot more richer, a lot more cerulean for the glass. So yeah, some of the colors could be made to match up a little bit better in my opinion, but that's just me, and that's how I like resource packs. It's not something that's required to be considered a good pack. The green and gray looking very, very good together. This is one of those weird instances where actually it's the wool that's the more desaturated one, and the clay is the more vibrant one. That's kind of interesting. The trap chest is not done, unfortunately, and the regular chest is looking just fantastic. Not much that can be said that I haven't said before. Oh, and by the way, the green glass is just absolutely incredibly vibrant, whereas both of the greens here are desaturated. The ender chest looks really weird. I mean, really weird. This thing is creepy. Look at like the little eyes on the side. That's creepy as all get out. Oh my goodness! Look at that! Look at that! There's teeth in there. This thing is creepy. This is possessed. I love it. So much bumpy, good texture. I love it. I mean, it's creeping me out, and I want to get away from it. But still, bravo! Take a walk through the garden. I love the brick. The brick is good. It does have this one brick that has this kind of diagonal detail to it. That should either be added in some way to have every brick or more bricks have a strong diagonal detail, or none at all. The other thing is that the bricks are unevenly sized. We got tiny brick there, we got long brick there, and the pattern actually does stand out quite a bit. So I'm not a huge fan of the brick texture, but it still has that great pixel art to it. Unfortunately, not everything is finished here. We've got the carrots looking very good. I like that the edibles are actually kept organic for the most part, instead of being the technological stuff, with some exceptions, of course. We have the rations crate, which makes sense, as it does drop like melon slices, so it makes sense for it to be a crate. I like, by the way, the stems. This is another one of those really interesting things where it isn't connected to the block like most stems are, and all it is just, it has a light on the top. It's like, ding, melon's done. I like it. It's so interesting, and it's so different from so many other packs that I've seen that all kind of do the same thing. One thing is that the texture seems kind of scrunched over here. I'm not sure if that's intentional or not, but I don't think it looks terribly good, especially when it's not scrunched over here. That could be fixed. Wheat is not done, unfortunately. The pumpkins do not look like they're having a good time. Just saying, these things look kind of miserable and possessed. The pumpkins should maybe hang out with the ender chest. I'm just saying, they seem to be kind of in the same mode. Kind of the whole creepy, sort of Halloween-y mode. I love them. Just so much good stuff. Today we're only going to be skipping half of the museum because unfortunately very few of the paintings are done. So we're going to come and look at the items. Now about half the items are finished. And there's not really much that I'm going to comment on with any of them, other than the fact that they just look great. I mean, even just looking at like the stains on the buckets, just look fantastic. So much great pixel art work in every single thing. Look at the golden tools and just all of that detail. One thing to note though is that the sword seems to kind of stand out and be in a bit of a different style. I'm not sure if that's a newer texture or an older texture, but it probably should be brought in a little bit more to be closer to the other tools, in my opinion. Diamond stuff, just fantastic. Just overall good pixel art. So much detail. One thing again though is that the sword is red. I'm not sure why the sword is red, but it doesn't match with anything else as far as the color scheme for the diamond stuff. With the leather, not much is done. The books look good. They look very old because of that wear that's put on them. Not much else is actually done here. Moving on, the wooden stuff all just looks great. I like how it all looks knotted and like it was actually just pieces of wood or branches that were kind of sort of carved with the ends into the proper tool. Like they weren't really manufactured or refined in any way. Just very primitive looking stuff. Even on the bow you can see the knots in the wood or the twisting of the branches. Just looks fantastic. Not much is done here. The fireworks star is. So is the magma charge or whatever it's called. I keep forgetting. Fireworks rocket is also done. Just good stuff overall. Most of the food is done, and it just looks great. I mean, there's not really much that I can say here other than, yeah, it looks good. The bread up there looks kind of phoned in. I'm not sure if that's an older texture or just one that hasn't been finished yet, but I think that needs a revisit. Other than that, all just really good pixel art. The seeds are good, the coal is good, everything is just good. I can't really comment on it because I'm just repeating the same points. It's just good stuff. Maybe I should just shut up and let you all enjoy this, but I kind of need to keep talking. I'm supposed to be making commentary on this stuff, but there's nothing much that I can critique. It's all good. There's no real flaws or faults with it. Whoa. Hello. What's going on with my controls? Stop. Stop. There we go. Minecraft, please. I'm trying to do a review here. Bizarre. Okay, so yeah, I love the crystally look with the ender pearl in particular, where there seems to be some actual like refraction of light within the object itself. So the shadows are kind of inside of it, and there's a highlight on the bottom. Looks very, very cool. Just everything looks great. The one thing here, though, by the way, the comparator and repeater are a bit small. I wish that those were made a little bit bigger so that they'd be easier to see, but minor complaint altogether. The lingering potion seems to be broken, the texture for it, so please excuse that. I'm sure it will be fixed as soon as possible. But I do love the potion bottles. They're definitely an interesting design, whereas most potion bottles are straight vertical. These are actually diagonal a little bit, so it adds to that style that this pack has. So much detail. Look at the powders at the top. They've got all this granularity to them. The glowstone appears to kind of be floating upwards a little bit. Just really great level of detail overall on all of this. Maybe there will be something for me to actually complain about in the workshop. Probably not. Here we have another one of those details, the glow from the lit furnaces, casting a little bit of light. Looks very, very good. The anvil GUI is not done, the fire is default. So yeah, I'm going to complain about all the default stuff now. Default, grr, arg. We have faces in places for the dispenser and dropper. They look really, really cool. I like that they are different on the vertical and horizontal versions. Looks cool. The pressure plates once again maintain their texture. The daylight detector and moonlight detector looking very good. They look very much like realistic solar panels. I like the design. The redstone stuff looks very cool. One thing Again, we have a 32x texture in a 64x pack for the comparator. Guessing that's going to get replaced at some point, but it does stand out right now. One thing, though, is that it does look more like the Edge than the actual proper 64x textures. I'm guessing that these need to have some custom model work done to give them a proper edge, though. But yeah, I'm hoping that that gets taken care of, because right now it kind of stands out a little bit. The redstone is not finished, sadly. The enchanting table is kind of weird in this pack. With most everything having a very metallic, technological sort of a feel to it, it's really weird having the enchanting table stand out as being kind of a more medieval style, and yet I'm also wondering if it doesn't kind of make sense. If we're going to assume that enchanting is actually magic in a otherwise technology-dominated world, it makes sense to have this arcane artifact still look like it was carved from obsidian with the ornaments of magic on it. I've seen other technological base packs where they've tried to make this into a tech thing, but I'm wondering if that's just not part of the lore of this pack, is to not have enchanting be a tech thing. Having it actually be like the resurgence of magic in a world that's slowly being consumed by steel. That would be an interesting bit of lore. Sadly, I don't know if that's what was gone for, but the texture itself looks really good. And then the bookshelves are like filing cabinets. Don't get me wrong, good pixel art, but filing cabinets are lame. I'm just saying, filing cabinets are lame. Pistons are about what you'd expect. A lot of high-tech lines, and the actual work parts are just painted metal. One thing is that there's just a big spike in the center for the sticky piston, which kind of makes sense. It's just drilling into the next block over in order to move it. Yeah, I can dig it. For the wood, this is another one of those things where we see this separation. All of the doors and wood textures are this very old style. There's not any refinement to them at all. These were done with primitive saws and axes and assembled by old school craftsmen. You can even see this detail at the bottom just carved in. All of this is very old world, and that makes for a wonderful contrast to a world that is dominated by technology. I love even the directional scrapes on these 4 little panels down at the bottom. Again, just so much good attention to detail, which carries over into the planks. Just having that kind of intentional pattern that works really, really well for a decorative block. Not so much sold on the diagonal for the jungle, but on the other hand, it also does work well with the almost Art Deco inspired door that we have here. It looks great. I honestly love this door. This is like my favorite door. Seriously, I'm not even joking. It's so good. But very basic for the dark oak. Very grim, sort of. And, oh no, wait, this is Acacia. Excuse me. Acacia. This is the dark oak. Sorry, again, I'm losing my bearings because a lot of this stuff doesn't exactly look like what it's supposed to. One thing here, though, is that it doesn't use the same color scheme for the door, but this is also a 32x texture, which means this is another one of those where it's probably going to be replaced at some point. Overall, everything just looks amazing. Oh, I didn't remember to look at the tripwire hooks. They look fine. They have a kind of a dark edge, which almost makes them look a bit cartoony along the metal part. Not much to say. And I don't think, in fact I know we don't have a custom TNT texture, but we do have a custom TNT block. Or a custom explosion, excuse me. So, onward and forward. We're going to skip by the barn and the villagers, simply because most of the animals aren't done. Now with the villagers, I'm going to talk about these real quickly. Here's what I meant earlier where I said I was going to talk about kind of the possibility that this was a post-apocalyptic world. All of the villagers look like Terminators. No, really, that's what I first thought of when I saw these guys. These guys look like the T-100 or whatever he is. Sorry, I haven't seen the Terminator movies in forever. But yeah, these all look like machines of war. And I'm thinking that this pack is supposed to be kind of a post-apocalyptic thing. The world is being cyberized, and the only people, quote-unquote, that are left alive are these androids. The thing texture-wise with them, though, is they're basically all the same texture. I would have liked to see more variations, except for their, other than just their clothes. But then again, that might also be part of the theme of the pack. They really are all just mass-produced models. Back on track, we'll head to the Roundhouse to look at the wonderful monorail style track. Again, works very well with the theme of the pack. One thing is that there could be some more detail, some more scuffing along the edges of the rail, show a little bit more wear. Otherwise, fine. The diagonal tracks, again, same thing, very, very good, but still a bit basic. I'd like to think that these might be a bit of a work in progress, but they're fine. The detector rails, activator rails, that's a detector rail, this is an activator rail, I keep getting the two confused. Activator rails, easy enough to see when they're powered, and overall look good with the theme, not really much to say. The detector rails, the actual proper detector rails, I don't care for so much, mainly because it's very hard to see when they're active. This is one where I think it would be easy for this pack to fix, just by having like some wires come out to lights that are closer to the edge, get something that will stick out underneath the actual rail card itself, so you can see when it's active, as opposed to these teeny tiny little lights that we've got that are never going to be viewed, like, no matter what. So I think that that's a flaw that could maybe be addressed, maybe bring it out, use some of the wiring like we saw on top of the mycelium to kind of bring it out a little bit, maybe even use the same pattern so when the rail is placed over mycelium that it actually looks like the activator track is actually powering some of that. That would be pretty cool. For the powered rails, again, very easy to see when they're active, and it's very easy to spot them. They look really, really good. The minecarts are odd. They look really old-fashioned. They look more like they should be in kind of a steampunk type of a pack rather than like a techno pack. On the other hand, we still have really good art with a lot of wear and detail work all throughout the texture. Just really, really good stuff overall, but it somehow feels like too old for this pack. Not complaining about it, just pointing it out. Still, overall, really, really good artwork. And so, let us ride the monorail to the underground station. Here we are in the underground. Last stop, all out. I love that the diorite has a unique texture separate and apart from the stone. It's very different. Yeah, there's a bit of a pattern to it, especially when you look at it from a distance or if you look at a lot of it from a distance, but it looks great overall. I'm just thrilled to have a diorite that isn't a recolored stone texture. Looks really good. The polished diorite looks very good. Again, a lot of roughness. This was hewn. It wasn't just perfect, but we do have almost a metallic border to it, which is really interesting. I like that a lot. Coming down for the granite, we again have a unique texture, different and apart from what has come before it. It's not a recolor of the diorite either. Granite is actually its own thing, which I love. One thing to note, by the way, we have stay back blocks for bedrock. That's so interesting. I mean, it's kind of a lame texture because there's not really a lot of the detail, but there is still a little bit with the highlighting and stuff. Could use a bit of an improvement, a little bit more wear on it, but I like it. It's very unique. For the polished granite, again, we have an actual border to it. It's actually hewn out, and this is slightly lighter, slightly less contrasty than the regular over here, given a little bit more of a polished look, but still with a lot of texture, a lot of roughness to it, which is very cool. And as with the previous two, andesite still has its own texture. It's not a recolor, which is wonderful, I love that. And the polished andesite actually has a proper block texture where it's smoothed along the edges, but it still has some roughness. This wasn't done perfectly by machines, this was probably hand done just to give it enough of a smooth surface to where it's easier to walk on, but not so much that there aren't little cracks in it. I love this, so good looking. The gold blocks, I'm guessing these are a work in progress because they're kind of lame and unfinished. And I think, yeah, these look to be... Nope, these are 64x texture. I am wrong. I thought that they were 32x texture like some of the other placeholder-looking blocks, but no. This is... Yeah, this needs work. It doesn't feel like it belongs in this pack, honestly. The gold ore, on the other hand, is beautiful. We just have these little vein of gold that's sticking out of the stone on every block. Looks fantastic. With the iron is weird. I'm not really sure what to think about it. It looks like it's painted red. Now, I have reason to believe that this is supposed to look rusted because the tools that are in the ground for the ore are the same color of red. Yeah, the ore isn't bits of iron that are sticking out. It's actually man-made objects that have been embedded in the stone and are rusting. So I'm wondering if the red isn't supposed to be rust, rather than, rather than actual red paint. Although, on the other hand, it actually does look like a toolbox. You can see the individual drawers that are kind of lined up in that sort of descending order from smallest to largest, as a toolbox often is. So I'm wondering if this isn't paint. I'm not really sure what to think about it, honestly. The fact that we use the same colors on both makes me think it could kind of go either way. The coal and coal ore, these look like bullets. That's what I'm thinking of. I'm not sure if that's what it's supposed to be, but they look like bullets. This looks like ammo cases or mortar shells, something along that line. I'm not sure if that's what it's supposed to be, or if they're supposed to be just like generic energy cells or something, but that's what it reminds me of, and overall, it looks very good. This is one of those textures where it embraces the pattern and does well with it. I like it. The lapis ore, a little bit hard to see, but it overall looks good. Here we have one of those things where it actually does deform the stone. You can actually see that it is embedded into the stone, that each of these little bits of ore is embedded into the stone because we have highlights and shadows that actually go along with it. Yeah, it doesn't displace the stone a lot, but at the same time it does actually feel like it's embedded in and not just pasted over top. The lapis blocks are kind of lame. I don't know what was really being gone for with this. Excuse me, I can't English. Been recording for a while here. I'm starting to slip. I should probably take a break. But yeah, it looks kind of like little mirrors or little shiny bits just kind of made into a pattern. I don't really care for it, especially considering how unique a lot of the other blocks in this pack are, but it's serviceable. The same kind of goes for the diamond. It feels more like it's just a pattern or a stack of things rather than anything particularly unique. It also doesn't jump out at me as being particularly diamond-like. But here's what's really cool. With the ore, it's just a diamond ring in the stone. That's it. Just one little diamond on a ring. Again, going along with the theme that most things are man-made in this pack. The diamond isn't a natural diamond, it's a diamond ring that was discarded or lost or something else that just happened to wind up in the sediment. It's very cool, I like it. One thing though, we're using different colors for the diamond and diamond block. Not sure if that's intentional or not, but maybe everything could be unified a little bit more, my opinion. The redstone is like little orange-red Christmas tree lights that are embedded in the stone. I like that, it's so cool. But again, we're using a different color for the redstone blocks, which are not a giant mass of redstone. They are just like battery blocks, which is really cool. I like it a lot. Again, though, we could use a bit more wear in a lot of the flat fields of the textures, but I do like that it casts light. That's very cool. I like that the little orb in the center actually lights the rest of the block. That's really nice. Over here for the emeralds, these are just like keypads that are embedded in the rock. Again, going along with the idea that the rock or the planet itself is kind of being cyberized, little keypads are emerging in the stone, and that's the emerald ore. And of course, when harvested, they actually make blocks of technology, probably circuit boards and other stuff. That actually is very, very cool. It's not what you'd expect, but it's an interesting twist on the idea. Well done! The stone, again, we have kind of the same problem with the dark bits here with the stone brick. Not much to say. I love the carving in the carved stone brick. Looks very, very cool. One thing is that it's a bit hard to tell like the cracked and regular stone bricks apart, but that's fine. Overall, they look just great. I love the torches, by the way. I didn't comment on these, but they actually look like heat sticks or something. They're not really a torch so much as they are a light stick. It's very cool. I like it. Cobwebs are unfortunately not done. The mob spawners are barbed wire. That's interesting. It's not typical, but it is cool looking. I like it. Anyway, with all of that said, let us head to the Nether. And here we are in the Nether. I took a little break during my interdimensional travel, so hopefully I will remember the names of things a little bit better. Starting with quartz. I love how even the pillar tops are very scratched. They have a lot of variance to them. They're kind of rough in certain places. And of course the main quartz blocks, very, very rough, almost stone-like in their texture. They don't feel flat at all. They don't feel like the normal, smooth, clean, perfectly white quartz block like so many packs do. It's definitely an interesting take on the block. I like it. We also have the pillar here. Now I don't like the pillar because all of these are just vertical lines. There's no scratches, no roughness, none of this variation, none of this worn texture like especially we see with the pillar tops here. There's none of that on the pillar itself, which makes me feel like this texture is not entirely finished, so I'm hoping we see a little bit more of that in a future update. But here again, we see with the carved one how this pack does so much good with hue variance. You have the very bright white highlights, where most of the texture is this yellow, kind of dim, dingy yellow, kind of beige texture. And then we have, for the shadows, a little bit more in the way of a greenish texture. It adds a lot of character to the quartz blocks. I really, really like it. Coming out here, we have the nether brick and the red nether brick. I really don't like that these two textures are just, one's a recolor of the other, and that's really sad considering how far this pack goes for the most part to avoid doing just straight up recolors. But hopefully we'll see a difference in them in the future, or it could just be intentional where it's the same texture, just one is literally painted red. I don't know. One thing I wish we would see more of is variance in this. There's a lot of details that you can see repeating in straight lines, but again, that could be intentional with this being a distinctly man-made, very metallic looking sort of a block. It could be entirely intentional, so yeah, I don't particularly care for that level of patterning, but it's not necessarily wrong either. Just because something is not my preference doesn't mean it's necessarily bad if it goes with the theme of the pack. What is bad is how the nether rack does not connect very well in between texture lines. I love this texture overall. It looks like, you know, kind of like ground meat, like there's like blood vessels and, you know, bits of nastiness kind of mixed in with the meat, like somebody wasn't too careful with what they started chucking in the grinder. It's very gross and unsettling. I love it. And especially with the little bits of quartz in the quartz ore sticking out of some of these like little openings in it. It just feels but I love it. I love overall how it works. It just needs to be made to where it connects across texture lines, and it'll be amazing. The glowstone, I'm very mixed on. First of all, it has the O shape from back when this pack had a different name while it was in development. I'm not going to try to pronounce it, because it was not in English, but it did. It started with an O. And so it has that. This is also the pack's logo still, I think. But yeah, it looks pretty good. One thing is that a lot of the neon, I'm guessing this is supposed to be neon, is kind of dark, so it doesn't really feel like it's glowing. And then the light also doesn't extend over into the red like it does with a lot of other textures where glowing bits will actually cast light on the rest of the texture. In this case, they don't. I'm not a real big fan of that. I think that this could probably be improved quite a bit. Coming over to the netherwort, unfortunately the netherwort blocks are not finished, but the regular netherwort is. The only complaint I have about this is there's this weird dark shape in the background, and I'm not sure what that's supposed to be, and it just feels like something is casting a shadow on the air? Question mark? Yeah, it doesn't look particularly good. I hope that either gets finished or removed in a future update. What I do love is this soul sand. I love the faces. The souls of the damned are trapped within. All these little like vines, it looks like they're holding the faces in. It's very creepy, very good. Yeah, it's very patterny, it's very, very easy to see, you know, repeated faces, but who cares? It just looks awesome. About half of the nether mobs are done, so we're going to concentrate on those. Here we have another Terminator-style kind of a robot with a face on each and every side. I don't think on the top. I think the top is just like a smokestack, but it's hard to tell considering how thick the smoke particles are in this pack. Seriously, they're enormous. I don't care for that. But I do like the little things that are orbiting him. They look all glowy and very dark, kind of burnt. He looks overall very cool. I just wish you could actually, you know, see it. I wish you could see the blaze in this pack. That's my big complaint about the blaze in this pack. Magma Cream not done. The skeleton, however, is. And this is another one of those textures that makes me think that this is a post-apocalyptic pack, because this guy is very obviously organic. He's very burnt. Looks very, very good, but it's definitely a human skeleton. It's not something mechanical. By the way, excellent job with the hue variants, going for the yellow highlights and all of that just along there. Gives it so much more character. And then we have all of like these char marks along the side. This guy was definitely burnt. This looks like it hurt. He's amazing though as far as the texture goes. Again, just really, really great pixel art all over this pack. Loving it. And then we've got this guy. What even is this thing? 4 eyes, 4 nostrils, 1 big mouth. Just look at all of this. You've got kind of gills over here, and these kind of almost diseased looking holes, like there's something wrong with his skin. Just all of this. Just all of this detail, all of this texture. He's a bit flat up here on top, but overall just looking very good, like the veiny look in the forehead. Just fantastic. Just fantastic art all around. Love it. Love it. I know I'm just kind of geeking out about this pack, but that's how good it is. So let us head to the end. Here we are in the end. Here we are. I'm going to skip the mobs because most of them aren't finished and focus on the block textures. I like the end portals. They have that same sort of technological feeling to them. And with the filled ones, we have all of these saying end on them. That's cool. One thing that I wish is, again, the direction of these should be reversed so that you can read it when you're looking at it from the outside rather than having to peer across at the text to be able to read it. The other thing that I wish was that the filled ones had more of a glow to them. There's a lot of places where like energy could be showing through, add some of that nice glow like we saw with the redstone block, but overall they look very, very cool. I like them. Interestingly, the the end stone is, I think, just the same texture as the sponge. It still looks very good though, even here, but it's blue, which is interesting. We don't see a lot of blue end stone, and I think that it looks very, very cool. I actually really like it. And then we have the purpur, which is again very rough. I think this is probably, if not the same texture as the sandstone, very similar, which is kind of disappointing, unfortunately, but it still does look very good. Actually, is it the same texture? I'm not sure. Either way, it looks very good. There's a lot of rough details, and the same with the pillar. Unlike the quartz pillars, The purple pillars have a unique texture that has that nice rough texture to it, especially along the sides here. Feels like you could reach out and run your fingers along it and feel all those bumps. And then we still have some very smooth bits right along here. Looks very, very good. The purple brick is a little bit disappointing, very basic, but very serviceable too. I like it. I like it quite a lot. I like the end rods. They actually look like they're glowing for a change. A lot of end rods do not, which is really, really sad, but these look very, very good. I do like them quite a lot. For the chorus flowers, unfortunately most of them aren't done, but I do like the viney look to them. One thing that I would recommend changing would be these cross sections. Try to have it to where it would transition to a horizontal viney pattern along these cross sections that are actually going horizontally, because right now it looks like the vines are just kind of connecting to nothing and it doesn't look all that good in my opinion, but I'm guessing that this is probably still a work in progress given that the flowers are not finished yet, so hopefully we'll see some changes like that in the future. And then last we have the dragon egg, which is very basic. Not much really to be said about this texture. It's not nearly as detailed as a lot of the other textures, and again, I think that this is a 32x texture. In fact, I'm very sure of it this time. Yeah, very sure this is a 32x texture, so this, I guess, technically is not finished for the pack, so hopefully we'll see an update about this in the future. So here are my thoughts on Unnatural State. If you've been following the review this entire time, you pretty much already know what I think of this pack. And if you skipped right to the end, well, that's kind of rude. I put a lot of effort into these videos. You should really watch them. But as to what I actually think, yeah, you pretty much guessed it. This pack is gorgeous. The pixel art is some of the best out there. Fishy Mint is definitely an amazing artist, but not always the most technically proficient artist. There are a few things here and there, for example, the netherrack and the red sand that aren't supposed to be rotating but do. It's the behind-the-scenes Cody stuff that doesn't always work very well in this pack. There are also a few places where it doesn't feel like blocks were designed to be seen in large groups because they have details that repeat in very obvious ways. Texture for texture, block for block, each one taken in its own, it's amazing work, but not always designed with the idea of being viewed in Minecraft, where there are large groupings of the same thing repeated over and over again. Ultimately, the biggest complaint about it, of course, is that there isn't more of it. It's all so great, but of course, with that quality comes a lot of time necessary to make it. I want more. I want this pack to be complete, and sadly it isn't, which is unfortunately the biggest problem, one that will, thankfully, be corrected with time. But between the impressive quality of the artwork and the unusual theme, which I don't think I've ever seen done elsewhere, I can't help but absolutely adore this pack. It is such an amazing piece of artwork, as I have said repeatedly throughout this entire review. And so here in the end, I am giving Fishy Mint's Unnatural State gold out of 5. Fantastic pixel art permeates this entire pack. It really is an inspiration just how much detail has gone into this. The unusual theme also makes it feel really interesting and unique. Overall, it is a great pack. It just needs to be finished to earn a diamond rating. That's the only complaint that I can possibly level against this work of art. But what do you fine people think about Unnatural State? Do you like being in an unnatural state, or do you hate being in an unnatural state? Please leave a comment below this video and let me know. You can also post in the author's Minecraft forum page or on his Planet Minecraft page if you prefer. And if you would like to see more of these videos, go ahead, leave me a like. It really encourages me and helps me out. You can also leave a dislike if you don't agree with my assessment of this pack. Don't worry, you're not going to hurt my feelings. Both likes and dislikes help me out immensely. And if you should choose to subscribe to me, please also follow me on Twitter. YouTube has been having problems with subscribers and unsubscribing people and so on and so forth. So follow your favorite YouTubers on Twitter to make sure that you get their videos. It will really help them. It'll really help you. Generally, it's a good thing for everybody involved. So with all of that information disseminated, I remain Alvoria, and I wish you go forth and make good art. I'll see ya!